Hey everyone, welcome again. This is a team update. You'll see more and more of these more frequently as we have more things to tell you. And it's pretty big this week, so let's get stuck into it. I think the first thing we'll start with is there was a bit of price action this past week. And I'll turn it over to Connor and Sim and they can explain what they saw.
Yeah, I can jump in. Some of you may have seen I did a post on Discord about this. We had a tough week actually, to be honest. It was we had some negative price action. It looks to be there was a large probably a bot, a large investor doing a bit of a sell-off with a bot of some description. So we had just constant action for about, I think it was over a 5-day period. It's unfortunate and very frustrating for us, but unfortunately I think in the message I wrote that it's the nature of the project. We're in it for this is a long-term project. One of the important things about our tokenomics is finding the balance between getting tokens out into the hands of the public, whilst also protecting all token holders as well. So we sort of need to run a fine balance there. But yeah, as I say, it's unfortunate that would happen, but we've got some really big stuff happening right at this very moment, and those who are close to our project and close to our community can see the momentum and see the things about to spawn out of this project. So you might argue that a speculator selling off some tokens is a pretty significant, nice opportunity for those who are close to our project. I don't know if you want to expand on that, Connor, but
yeah. Thanks, Sim. Yeah, I suppose it's been a bit of a rough week at IOEN on that front. But it's something that we don't get too bogged down with it just because of how many good stuff is coming out next. There's so much on the technology side of things, listings, speaking with partnerships, a new partnership today that I can't talk quite about yet. We're just signing some documents, but it's all happening. So it's a shame, but with sort of the size of the project now and how early we are in the project timeline, it can be one investor, it can be one holder of IOEN can affect the price. So that's why it's something where we asked everyone to come together, and it's been great to see some of the community supporting us. There's been lots of community members that have supported us a lot in this last week in trying to help educate some of the other community members about our drive and about our purpose in getting the mission done. And this is a long haul, and it's just a shame that this has sort of happened. We've done a lot of investigating, a lot of sleepless nights from Sim and I the last week, but we've sort of narrowed it down a little bit. And there is, it's just something that occurs in early stage projects. So it's just how it is. There's not much we can do about it. Everyone's free. We're at the whim of a free market. It's how all crypto projects are. And because of the size at the moment, because we need everyone to sort of tweet about us and talk to your friends about us and just try to spread the project, we're trying to get as much out there as possible and get IOEN in as many hands as possible so that issues like this they won't happen as we grow. That's essentially one of the findings from our investigation, is that an issue like this won't happen once we grow the project.
Yeah, and I'd like to come back to that because we've got sort of 3 main points. That was the first one, and I think the last point, Connor can expand on that a bit, but that's really important. So thanks guys, and thanks for your efforts this past week, and also thanks to the community. I think you did reach out to someone who helped us spot the pattern and work on that. So that was really good. We do have some really solid people in the community. Really,
I'd just say a few words on that too, MG. Yeah, that was just really cool and just great. Like some of the community stuff on that, because we were these events are not fun and frustrating for all, but just some of the support and the and actually people looking for what was going on and discovering patterns and that sort of stuff. It's really super helpful, and that's sort of yeah. Thank you for everyone for that. That was really cool.
Really good. Okay, moving right along. Here's the second biggest thing we're going to talk about on this call. So you've heard us talk about the protocol, and we are possibly hours. I'll say a day, maybe 2 days, but it's imminent now that we're going to release this. And there's a lot of work being done in the background. Basically, what's happening is we're checking through the code. That will then get pushed to the main branch, and at some point, as I say, hours or days, I would say a day, we'll flip that from private to public, and then you'll be able to see what we've been working on. It includes the basics, which, as you've heard, that we're based on Holochain at the bottom, and we're going to provide a simple use case, but I'll talk a bit about use cases. So that's really interesting. On top of that, there's some things that won't be there from day one, but you'll see it change every day as we get it sorted. And what I mean is Git books, which is more manuals and how-tos. The README will be there, so you can immediately start playing with the code if you so desire. There's also on our Discord channel, there's something called hashtag protocol-dev, and we want to start talking there. And of course, with GitHub, you can raise issues and pull requests. So we are transitioning into a true open source project. That's really exciting. Sim, do you want to add a bit to that?
Yeah. I guess anything to add to that, like probably if you want to, if you're sort of more technically inclined, want to have a bit more of a teaser on that, probably worth having a look at the Holochain ecosystems session we did a couple of last week, where Phil Beadle went through some of the content and that sort of stuff, and we also spoke a little bit about use cases and that sort of stuff. So that might be that's probably a good teaser I'd recommend. Although it's only a couple, very close to the actual proper release, but.
Actually, that's a good point, because it's not just the code. There's some really nice tools, and that's what you'll see if you check that out. One of them is scaffolding. Yes. So very simply, you just run npm init at Holochain, and we're now looking at whether we can improve that. In other words, fork it and make it our own. But as it is, it's outstanding. It's like a entity relationship diagram creator, and all the code is created. And on that call, you'll find that he actually created what looks like a phone app. So that's all going to be fleshed out. If you know Phil, he's also been working on something called CRISPR, which is a rapid application tool that he did with Holochain, and he's got plans for that as well. So pretty exciting. I just want to talk a little bit about use cases. So that's been a big topic here at ION the last couple of weeks, especially. We're starting to really think about it, because we're unlike a lot of projects. We're real. Like we are doing commercial things. We're doing real world things. It's not just social media type things. So in the energy space, there's this term called embedded networks, and that means maybe a national grid feed comes to you, to your building, and then you have control over that. And a good example is like a shopping center, where you get the energy in, and then you have to figure out which shop is using what. So that is a very good use case for what we've got coming up. Other ones like hospitals, just think of buildings that have many things. And Sim has been working on community batteries, which are really exciting. And that's one of our big opportunities that we see coming up. Do you want to talk about the 2400 or the 4800?
Yeah, so I think, like you and I have spoken about this lots of times, Mike, but obviously batteries are a game changer for acceleration of renewables technology. Really, they just change the whole dynamic, and the economics has been sort of against them for a while, but the efficiency and economics is changing really rapidly. So there is just a ginormous movement in Australia and elsewhere around the world, particularly in embedded networks, but just also in grid applications for these neighborhood battery type solutions. Obviously, shared solar and those type of things are interesting, but neighborhood shared batteries are just seem to be going like gangbusters. So we've seen like a ton of interest in that, and really that's a perfect application for what we're creating a template to facilitate in this initial version of the protocol. But yeah, the 4800 number is, there's some modeling in the Australian by a very smart researcher on the Australian grid, and his modeling looked at the use of energy in our system currently and modeled a situation whereby you could completely displace fossil fuels in our grid with, I worked it out to be about 4,800 neighbourhood battery projects throughout the nation. So that's a pretty cool number. That's like actually something that feels almost achievable, you know. So
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's like a really, we've really sort of grabbed that.
Right at the moment, there's 200 that are actually in play with this neighborhood battery initiative. All right. Is Simon blocked? Oh, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry. I'm back.
No worries. Okay. So yeah, so that's really exciting. And I guess the main point there is that, yep, open source is coming really soon, as in, as I say, in a day. So watch out for that. Okay, highlight of this AMA today, we have an announcement, and I shall turn it over to Connor to explain.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So this is a big announcement. We're going to be releasing on another centralized exchange, which is a few months worth of effort on and off. And we finally sort of come to the agreement, and we'll be pushing forward. It's a top 20 exchange. We can't really go into too much detail about who it is, but I can sort of say on this AMA that it's going to be Mexi. But we won't be doing right? We won't be doing too much Twitter stuff. We're not doing a big campaign or anything like that yet. It's sort of a scoop, you know. But for those who have made it this far in the chat, so being a bit cheeky, but I think that's the way to do it. So yeah, they're in the top 20 exchanges. They did sort of recently, or their 24-hour volume is up towards 2 billion a day. They're a massive exchange, good markets, and we're really excited to be partnering with them to bring ION into more create more markets and more opportunities. So Gates treated us really well, and hopefully we'll do a bit more with them. We're thinking about doing another trading competition or something like that. Just feel free to leave a comment on this video if that's something that you'd be interested in, because we're always looking for that kind of feedback. But as we sort of expand and as we roll things out over the next sort of 12 to 24 months, we've got a bit of a long-term vision that that's how it has to be for a project like this. We'll be bringing more centralized exchanges as we can. So that means that we're going to be on PancakeSwap, Uniswap, QuickSwap, Gate, and now Mexi. And we'll just be pushing forward with as many as we can over time and connecting everything up. I don't know if there's anyone that wants to add anything else to that, but yeah, it's just really exciting.
That is very exciting. Yeah. Tim?
The one also is like a lot of people in the Holochain community be familiar with Mexi Exchange. That's quite strong on hot trading as well. So so anyone in the Holochain ecosystem with hot can will now be able to trade ION there as well.
So I just want to loop it back to that first topic we had at the start, which was low volume market manipulation, and this is a really good deterrent. Once you get more and more exposure on big markets, that kind of negates that sort of action. So we're really looking forward to that. Yeah, volume, price, volume first. So yeah, really happy about that.
One thing that I do want to say is everyone should go and sign up for a Mexi account now, just because we're going to be launching a bunch of competitions. So there's one that's sort of a boat, and you can get ION airdrop to your Mexi account. So all the terms and conditions are on the Mexi thing. It's called the Kickstarter program. It's something that anyone that's close to ION should do, just because we're going to be basically giving you free ION. So it'll help spread the word and it'll help everyone on the Mexi community, but you do have to be a Mexi user. Everything's still, like I said, in the dark at the moment, but that's okay. It just means that you can get a head start. So if you go and sign up for a Mexi account and then wait for the announcers and follow our Twitter and our Discord and all our channels, we'll announce the details there.
So you heard it here first. Okay, so those are the three main things. I think we'll just switch quickly now to, there's always a few questions from the community, which we really appreciate. So we'll start with that. So we've got at SHUIDLD, and their question is, what is the structure of this project? Is it decentralized or an open source protocol where everybody can contribute? If so, how does the governance plan on being handled? So there's a few questions there. So I'll start with the first one and then I'll hand it over to Sim. So what is the structure of this project? Is it decentralized? Yes. And it's also distributed, and there is a difference, but we won't get into that here. It's decentralized in many ways, including all the people on this call are in different places. But also we intend it to be, ION was born on the world stage, and you'll find that if you look through our mediums and all sorts of socials that we intend to be everywhere. We're trying to be on every continent, maybe not Antarctica right away, but in terms of the open source protocol where everybody can contribute, want to have a few words there, Sim?
So yeah, that's why we're super excited about the protocol launch. Yeah, the answer is yes. Everyone will be able to contribute. We'll be having, we haven't fully fleshed out the detail yet, but yeah, we'll have some coding incentives and contribution incentives and those type of things for the protocol. Obviously, with the university initiative as well, we'll have some help from that side as well. So yeah, open source definitely, and it will be yeah, just simple GitHub pull requests and standard GitHub model for contributing there, and the main chat channel will be via the Discord, and we have a channel in there, I think it's called Protocol Dev, which we'll look to use for technical discussions and contributions, as well as project ideas and that sort of stuff.
I think the only other thing to add is that these things take time. So this has always been an open source project, and it's always been down this path. It's just that it takes, and I say it takes time, but it's only been sort of 3-4 months. So it's still really, really early days. So yes, it's of course open source, and yes, it's of course decentralized, but it just takes time for us to get to this, I guess, monumental point and monumental week with the release. And just the second part of the question with the governance plan, again, that's the same thing. It takes time. So yes, we will be a decentralized autonomous organization, but it's going to take time to set that up. We can't just throw that switch. Nothing would get done and things would just fall apart on the project. It's going to take years to get to a proper DAO. And that's just the reality of all DAOs, in my opinion.
It will take years, but yeah, we saw a really interesting, or we heard a really interesting podcast a while ago with MakerDAO, and it took them 7 years, but of course they blazed the trail. So we're hoping it won't take that long. There's lots of good software out there. And again, we won't get into it on this call, but if you look at our architecture, there's 2 levels. So there's blockchain DAO, which is what Connor's talking about. And then what we are releasing in the open source straight away is this other lower level on Holochain, which is the micro DAO. So yeah, lots of good stuff to come. And I just want to tweak a bit on what Sim said. He said something about universities. So we've got our marketing department have been busily working with a particular university to get all the words right, and that'll be a press release on that coming out. And Connor also mentioned there's other partnerships that'll be coming. So right at this point in time, with this call, we can't announce those, but we hope by this time for the next team update, you'll be able to hear about those things. I'm sure we will, actually. Okay, great. Let's go on to the second and last question we have today. This is from Crypto Adore. And the use of blockchain in the industry with a focus on renewable energy is still rare, yes. What are the challenges for you in developing this project? Yeah, many. But again, I just want to get back to the fact that we are doing something real. So not that social media is not real, but we're talking about electrons and people being able to light up, you know, their houses and things at night. So that's really exciting for us, because we especially some of our developers, they express that, you know, we can actually make a difference, and that's certainly where we're heading. Blockchain, Holochain, again, just check our Medium article if you're trying to understand those two concepts. But yes, we are a blockchain project. We're also a Holochain project. And so the good thing is we've got people who are really starting to understand how this will work. And I just come back to the use cases. That will, I think, be the key that unlocks everybody's understanding internally and everyone out there. And so it's just really education and getting to something real, and we're really close now. Do you want to add anything, guys, to that?
I can add just add quickly as well. So, like, an interesting thing for our progression in this project to get to here with ION. So probably it was about three years ago when we started the Red Grid organization, actually, but the original intention at that point in time was to release ION and do the ION release at that time. But at that time, we sort of spent about 6 months looking at the energy industry and looking at the problems that they face and where the issues mainly need to be addressed. And Adam and I sort of said is that the timing was not right. There was still some maturity and some the industry is not ready for the technology. It was ready for the problem that the technology could potentially solve, but there was a maturity issue there. When we got to ION 5 months ago, when we did our launch, that's we sort of that we think that position's changed. So the good thing is we've sort of got that 2.5 years under our belt, and the relationships and projects and real problems to solve sort of stacked up and actually happening in the Red Grid context. And now we've got the protocol and Holochain's in a point of maturity. The industry is at a point of maturity. We have the relationships on the Red Grid side ready to rock and roll with this sort of stuff. So it's our project is a really interesting one, because we've sort of done that pre-work. Like, a lot of these tokens get launched potentially and linger and have to go through that searching process and that stacking process. But we've launched and we've done that homework ahead. So that's why I'm really excited about getting the protocol released and then just wrapping it back into a lot of these opportunities and networks we have. So it's and we're starting to really attract some talent from the energy industry as well. I did a slide recently, and I just listed all the things that we're in, and we're slightly ahead of everything in the world. So there's microgrids, which are certainly existing but emerging, especially in the US. Crypto, as we all know, is becoming a little more mainstream. Crypto.com helps a lot by buying the Staples Center in Los Angeles, where the Lakers play, and Formula One. You know, so there's all these things, microgrids, renewable energy, all these things. There's about 6 or 7 that I could list, and we're all slightly ahead. Community batteries in general. So that's why, again, I just keep coming back to the use cases, and I think that will be probably our next team update. We can talk a bit more about that and get into that a bit. Okay, Connor, do you have any other closing words or things to say?
No, I mean, just on that last question, I mean, the challenges are numerous, and and they're, you know, it's just, to be real, it's a difficult thing. We're trying to take on a lot, and it's not easy to do, but we've got a great team. We've got enough resources to get us going. We've got the development work all coming out. As Sim said, the work's been put in prior. We've got a great relationship with RedGrid, which is key to our success. It does all of our commercial deals. The future's bright, pun intended. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges, but it's no more challenges than normal startups or anyone else in the crypto space or the blockchain space. You know, last week was a real humbler for us when it comes to the price action and trying to juggle that. It's like we're a listed company, you know? Yep. It's like we're a listed company with stock, even though it's not stock and it's a digital asset. Thank you, SEC. But you know, we've got to keep an eye on all that stuff and be satisfying the community in that respect, while still trying to get our job done. And it's a juggle and it's a challenge. And I think that would be probably my key challenge to Crypto Adore to say is that we're a startup, but it's like we're a listed company, and it's that's a huge obligation on us. But I think we've got a great team and we've got everyone in the right places, and everything's coming out. And just stay tuned, stay with us. You know, I know we do these updates once a week and it might not seem like a lot changes every week, but it's because we're in a long-term project. We keep drumming that drum, but it's how it is. You know, we've got to just keep going towards our path and keep our eyes on the prize, even with weeks like last week, which might not have been so great.
Yeah. And I think also like thinking through last week, as you say, being a humbling week, the advantage we have over speculators is the Discord channel and the community, that those in our group that know what's going on and know the momentum we're about to, and the announcements we're making, like the one tonight and that sort of stuff, that speculators they're not watching close enough to see that. So these things are interesting opportunity.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned and come back and set up your Mexi account. But you didn't hear it from me, heard from Connor. Okay, catch you later. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.